Stevens. John Krause.
Hey, Brad. So did Kemba go through practice? If he did, how did he look? How much did he get through? How's he feeling?
He did not. He did a harder workout yesterday on our off day. So they've got him on a 1 day on, 1 day off plan. So they chose to do it yesterday. So did a lot of running and shooting yesterday, shooting a little bit right now, but he's reacted great. His knee feels good, and so that's a good thing. Still in the process of really prioritizing accumulating strength in that knee. And so the day on, day off thing will be in effect for a while.
Joe Varden.
Hi, Brad.
Hey, Joe.
What do you think will be the thing that keeps the play? Like, I don't want to say this the right way. I feel like the players, by and large, will do what it takes to keep the bubble.
Joe, they turned you down for a minute. What'd you say? I'm sorry.
I'm trying to figure out actually how to say this. I feel like the players largely will do what it takes to keep the sanctity of the bubble intact. I wanted to ask you if you agree with that and why you think it will be, whether there's a deterrent or you just think they want to do what's good for them for the game, or just what you think about that.
I just think we all have a job. We all have a responsibility to do that. And, ultimately, we're following a lot of protocols for a reason. There's some rest of the country is experiencing some really hard things. And certainly that's the case in Florida. But yeah, it's our responsibility.
Keith Smith.
Hey, Brad, how much does it give you comfort as a coach knowing even without Kemba, who's been a primary ball handler, playmaker, to have guys like Tatum, Brown, and Hayward who can do those things for you when Kemba's out?
Well, our primary ball handler when Kemba's out will probably be Smart. So he's another one, obviously. But, we've got good ball handlers up and down the roster. The three wings you mentioned are all more than capable of getting us into offense. And actually very good at it. We've tried to design a style of play this year that was interchangeable for our four wings on the court that are together. And then I think we've got good guys in Wanamaker and Waters that can also come in and do that for us. So, ball handling is something that's really important. Not turning the ball over is really important. We have a number of guys that value possessions, that value the ball, and are capable of making plays with the ball. We're not as explosive an offensive team without Kemba, but we do have a lot of really good offensive players. And so we're just going to have to, really, when he's not available in practice, right, focus our best actions for others. But every indication is that he'll be available when we're playing games.
Mark Murphy.
Hi, Brad. Did you guys basically know you were going to follow this plan with Kemba before you came together, or is this a plan you developed once you saw where he was?
I would say more of the latter after the discomfort from the first couple of weeks of working out. Again, it wasn't anything major. I understand why the questions are about him. We feel good about the progress that he's made. We feel good about the fact he's having no pain. We feel good about the fact that he's accumulating strength. Strength is the number one thing, Mark. We got to make sure feels as good as possible, because the toll, the physical toll of playing these seeding games and playoffs, especially when you go every other day for the most part, is going to be significant on guys that are playing major minutes. And so that's a huge part of it. So any discomfort early, our training staff put a plan in place, and I'm just following it. I think that whatever's best for Kemba is obviously best for us.
Thanks.
Jared Weiss.
Hey, Coach, you talked about the interchangeability that your system has with the players that you have. Do you think that's going to be a real strength for you in the playoffs when teams that try to game plan for a specific player will then have to account for trying to do the same thing when you switch up who's the featured person in the attack?
I mean, you hope so. The offensive versatility and defensive versatility has been our strength all year. We're not going to overpower many teams on the block, with the exception of Canner. But we have a lot of guys that can put the ball on the floor and a lot of guys that can play downhill with speed. So that'll continue to be our focus. I mean, there's going to be things that we add over time, but there's also, we need to pick up where we left off from an offensive and defensive standpoint, because we were in pretty good shape. When you look at it from a big picture on both ends of the court, it's easier said than done. Other teams are out there too, and they're very talented that you're competing against.
Bob Schron.
It's like 21 meters. I think you see the plan on there.
Hey, Coach, how are you?
Bob?
Hi, Coach. I wanted to ask about the seeding games, because it is kind of strange. I mean, because it's not like starting the regular season over again. You're hitting the ground running with tough games. And what do you expect conditioning-wise, and does it put more importance on the bench? And also, without playing for home court advantage, do you expect any psychological things about playing with no fans involved?
I mean, I just think you keep your focus where you can. You control what you can control, and you talk about, our goal is to play good basketball, and we can play good basketball on both ends of the court. The results will take care of themselves more often than not. But again, we're playing really good teams, and so we're going to have to be really connected, really together. We're going to have to play better than we've played thus far in practice, obviously, but that's part of the re-ramping up phase that I'm sure everybody's going through. I mean, we've had moments where we've looked good, and we've had moments where we've looked, like we need to practice for another 10 days. So, hopefully we'll get there. But I like our guys. Our attitudes are great. I think we're really fortunate because we've got guys that practice hard and, they get after it. And I think that's led by some of our guys that get a lot of the limelight and the attention. They practice hard. And I think that really helps our team as a whole.
All right. Final question from Coach Abby Chin.
Hi, Brad. A couple of things. How did practice go today? And then I'm curious how you're spending your time off in the bubble. I mean, you can't work all that time, can you?
No, I mean, we're all trying to. There's not that many activities really to do. I try to take a couple hours a day and do something else, or whether it's being outside. I've golfed once or twice. But other than that, you're just getting ready for the next practice. And I think that there is a lot of planning that goes into doing the practices the correct way, and making sure that we as a staff are together and focused on what we need to get better at, and making sure we can help the guys. I do think the guys are doing a great job of balancing, the 3 hours that we get in the gym, and then a lot of them come back at night and shoot, for another hour or so. But they're also they're taking advantage of some of the activities that are available, and it's nice that they can do that. I think the more that we can do that as staff and players throughout these first couple of weeks, the better, because once games start, it'll be a little bit more challenging.
All right. Thanks, Coach.
Thank you.